Hello, family, friends, followers, and guests. It's the morning after the election. Oh, wait, we didn't have an election, and we don't know when the election will be done. It'll be interesting to see how all of this works out. I'm highly disappointed in that I expected nationally that we would have more common sense than what was demonstrated at the polls yesterday. Bunch of losers voting their self-interest instead of what's best for the nation. Trump should have stomped on it, and there's a question whether he's even going to prevail right now. On the plus side, I didn't watch the election last night. I've been binge watching with Karen a program called Arrow. It's a soap, and it makes her happy. It's fine with me. It's kind of a mindless endeavor. I figured I'd wake up this morning and it'd be over. Probably technically the election is over. There'll be some posturing, and whoever wins, wins. One of the things about the swamp is it'll continue to feed off from you and me. There's no question of that. And while I think Trump's done a good job of putting some dings and nicks into it, there's some truth to the matter that the politically elite, the swamp, the scum-sucking lying thieves are going to stay at it, regardless who's in power. There'll come a time, because there always does in the socialistic endeavor, if you study it, where the only people, the only ones who receive a benefit from what's going to happen if Biden wins this will be the politically elite and the politically elite. You and I and everybody else will lose. Our posterity will be on a historical path that's been repeated many times, and whether it's in my grandchildren or my great-grandchildren, we'll most probably see another overthrow of government with some great new concepts, of which none are really new, to start a new government. So much on that. I thank all of you for dropping in. I'm admitting to my disappointment. Because of new exposure to COVID, I've delayed my trip for a week, and I won't be going to Mesa until next Monday. So we'll see how those pieces all come together. I thought and think that I'm disappointed. Even if Trump wins, I'm disappointed in that I thought it should have been a blowout. Biden is a liar. He's a thief. He's used his political power to sell out America for the benefit of his family, and a bunch of you are stupid enough to vote for him. So what can you say? We, as Will Rogers said a long time ago, and I've repeated a couple of times, we get the level and quality of government that we voted for at the lowest denominator. That's not his exact words, but close enough. The election was a real pisser. Enough said on that, and I hope that we can go forward from here. The political part will be fun for me to watch, because I understand some of what's going on behind the scenes, the lawsuits that are most likely to come out of this. And I want to ramble. I'm going to talk just a little bit more. When we go to the store, and the store has a closing hour of 5 o'clock, we expect and we fight like mad to make it there before 5 o'clock because we know the store's going to close. And it's that way with a lot of things. When you're dealing with government and they say they don't open till 8 o'clock, they don't turn their lines on until 8 o'clock. You can't go in. When they say that they close at 5 o'clock, they turn those phone lines off. So all you get is a recording. They're done at 5 o'clock I'm using the PM. So those kinds of things, we're all used to that. So yesterday was election day, but yesterday isn't going to be election day because Pennsylvania, Minnesota, and others are all playing games with it in order to leverage the vote. Your vote's supposed to count, and yes, it is. I agree with that. But there's a responsibility on you. And that responsibility on you is to get your vote in time. It doesn't matter whether you mail it or you hand carry it. And if it's not there by 5 o'clock, not postmarked by 5 o'clock, that's made up statutes, that's bullshit. If it's not in my world, if it's not there when it is supposed to be, then your vote doesn't count. Period. That's all there is to it. And I've been in those situations jurisdictionally many times where you're under a time gun, and the bottom line is you either make the deadline or you don't. You don't get to petition later and say, oh, gee, I made it because my grandmother was feeling sick. Well, and in the law, what as you're dealing with that, generally what the case law says is that if you had time before and you didn't do it and you waited till the last minute, somebody in your family got sick or you got sick or whatever your excuse is, it's an excuse, not a reason. You don't get it. So with that said, we'll see how all this plays out. It'll be entertaining for me in a sick kind of way because I was looking forward to seeing things get dealt with. Hunter Biden won't ever be taken care of. He'll be hidden away just like in my early generation. Jane Fonda was, the swamp protected her, political swamp. Hillary Clinton, liar, admits to crimes that are felonies. She belongs in prison. Nothing will ever happen to her. The list goes on and on like that. If you're part of the politically elite, you're protected. And so now the Bidens get to go ahead and skim and suck off you a whole bunch more money. Not tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but they're on the path for billions, much like Hillary and what's his name. I think about the political future, and I wonder if Chelsea's going to run sometime in the future. I wonder about Don Jr. in the Trump field, or Eric, or maybe even Ivanka. All of them smart, business-oriented, and they could run this country. I know nothing about Chelsea, except that probably nobody knows who her real father is. We're pretty sure that the people with Clinton swallowed all the evidence, so we'll never know who her real father is. But anyway, I ramble, I'm frustrated. You guys all take care. I got out some of the home brew this morning, and it helps. Here it is so that you can see it. And it helps soothe things a little bit. Until the next time, you guys all take care. Let's make the best of what we can. In the past, like with Obama and back in the day others, my attitude from the very start of their election was to support them. There's been too much disclosed about Obama to support him, or ultimately anything he does or doesn't do. He's a non-entity in my life, but then the reality is he's not the real president anyway. Harris is going to be the real president. Biden is just a figurehead that they put in there in hopes that they could do exactly what they've done. And they need somebody like him too. They being all the people, the swamp rats behind the scene, the Democrats and the Republicans who are part of the swamp, the Mitt Romneys of the world, the Adam Schiffs, Schumers, Pelosi. I face my mortality. A couple of weeks ago, I had another heart attack. I won't be around to see this, but the idea and the concept that Pelosi's got one foot in the grave, and Schumer and Schiff and a bunch of all those old farts, they have one foot in the grave, and to see that 25-year-old elected to the Congress, who's a Republican, gives me hope. But the deck is stacked against him pretty much, and most of the other R's, because the swamp is so powerful. But again, I ramble. I've taken a 1 minute and 30-second video and made it into who knows what, 7, 8, 9 minutes. You guys all take care, and I'm going to make my trip. I'm going to enjoy myself, and I'm going to do some fun things. So, make it so.